Football Manager dropped its new features while I was in Floridsdorfer on the Fockplots. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you don't watch the Twitch, and it shows. The link's down in the description. I promise it will improve the quality of your life, maybe slightly, but that's still better than nothing. Today, Football Manager announced that not only would there be an overhaul to the match engine, which of course is massive news, but they overhauled one of the most important parts of the game that I am sick of making videos about. And that starts with recruitment. Here is what they had to say.
First up is the squad planner, recruitment focuses. There's been a real change on this one.
So percentages have gone completely. We no longer say this guy's at 88% player knowledge.
I just got done watching the video myself. This is so nice. Look at these videos that I had to make about this, and these videos. And now they have been able to go in and change the scouting system. Everything I see in here actually looks fantastic, starting with the squad planner. Now the squad planner visually is something that looks very appealing to me. What I am afraid of is that this squad planner is going to end up a lot like the development center. Remember that? We don't use it anymore. I think the squad planner could go that direction, because essentially what they're trying to do is take something out of our head and take something that people used to do on their own Excel sheets and put it into the game. Now, I like this old overlay. I like the fact that when you go over here and click, you can see you can go ahead into the future, and 2 years into the future on the squad planner. I think the reason that this won't happen to the squad planner though is because of this little feature they flash at the end. When you're able to add players to your squad planner from your short list, you can add them from different scouting reports. I think that's fabulous. It's something that I'm going to use at the very least on stream to illustrate what I am doing with my squad. I agree with James Lawrence Alcott. I think it all looks fantastic. Of course, the squad planner doesn't actually have a lot to do with scouting, but that's been overhauled too. They've done away finally with the assignment system that was driving me crazy again in all of these videos. The assignment system is gone, and now you look to focus on certain players. Now, they don't actually show us, I think, everything that goes into this, but from what we can see on these screens, it looks nice. And look at the way the assignments are lined up on the left side. It's nice and organized. And he also said some nice things that could save me actual weeks of my life when it comes to playing Football Manager, and that is reducing the noise in the inbox.
Yeah, well, the idea is to just reduce the noise a little bit, right? As you said, you get that, what we call sometimes called like spacebar fever, right? Like, 25 reports. The idea is your staff have done their due diligence. They've hit the maximum they're going to know on a player, and then they say, this is everything we've got on this guy. It's up to you now, based on this information, where you want to go. This
is something that drives me crazy. The best way we found to scout in Football Manager 22 had a ton of inbox messages. I wouldn't be surprised if me broadcasting that everywhere in all my different videos actually helped them come up with this idea. Even if it didn't, it's a fantastic idea. Reduce the noise in the inbox. And the last thing that I do like from scouting is they're doing away with scout percentages. You know how when you get a report back and it says, boom, 80% scouted, 75% scouted, that is gone. Scouting is now, what he said at least, a 4-step process. So like step 1, a lot of dudes. Step 2, less dudes. Then you narrow it down to players that have been extensively scouted, and then it is on you. I'll let him explain some of that.
Each of the 4 stages, they're going to find out a little bit more about these players and start whittling that list down. So by the end of it, you've got a more refined list of players that have all hit extensive reports that fit what you've been asking for or what your chief scout thinks you need.
This is a movement that Football Manager's been on for a couple of years now. Last year, they did away with percent fit. They added the heart instead, so it's more intuitive and less spreadsheet staring the whole time. And they needed to make scouting less of a time sink. It's always going to be a time sink for people that want to go click through rosters, but if you were quote unquote doing it the right way, it shouldn't be that much of a time sink. And the scouting focuses, well, those are good things for the reduction in time spent. They also added a feature that has to do with agents. This doesn't necessarily matter, but you can go back and forth with agents to see if you can essentially haggle the contract before you negotiate the contract. The jury is out on whether that is useful. Now, one feature that won't ever let you down from this channel is our longtime sponsor, Manscaped. We have a big discount for you, and it's important because it's fresh ball fall. In the era of pumpkin spice, you got to make sure your crotch looks nice. If you use the link down in the description, you can get free shipping and 20% off from Manscaped.
With the code Zealand, manscaped.com.
And that's important because you want to make sure that you look like this nice, beautifully trimmed field here at the Fockplots. You might be wondering what you can get with that discount. How about the Platinum Package 4.0? It's the one I have. It's a package that can take care of your entire hygiene routine, not just the awesome razors. Although the razors do have wonderful skin-safe technology.
It comes with a Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It's got an LED light so you can see where you're aiming. It also comes with the Weed Whacker for nose and ear hair, 2-in-1 shampoo, body wash, deodorant.
But it's the complete package. It even comes with an excellent set of boxer briefs that I might be wearing right now. I'm not. That would have been funny if I was. So make sure you get the Platinum Package this fall. Get it with 20% off and free shipping at the link down in the description. I'm clearly very excited about the scouting, but if we look to the other side and go towards the match engine, this is something I'm going to reserve my judgment. Now, I am a big fan of the senior match engine creator guy, Nick Madden. He's been on the channel before. He's a friend of the channel. It was in this video. It's linked up there if you want to go watch it. I hope I'm pointing at the right corner. I'm probably not. But the match engine improvements were a lot on AI managers, and that's something that, while they talked about, we just have no way of seeing from this highlights video.
Now our AI managers, they can select the right formation, they can select the right tactical instructions to hopefully go into that tactical battle with not just the human manager, but also the other AI managers, because we're simulating thousands upon thousands and millions upon millions of matches, all in the background. So we want to make sure that that simulation world is both believable, realistic.
What that is going to do is make these simulation videos that we do, like where we simulated the World Cup 100 times, better, because the background simulations are going to be better. The AI tweaks from the managers against you, they haven't been great in the past. I understand why they tried to improve them, but I don't know if I'm excited for that. But there is one thing for the match engine I am excited about, and that's the fact that they are now going to emphasize being able to play more defensively and with a lower block.
One of the main things we really wanted to do was improve the defensive side of the football. As much as everyone loves to go forward and press high and attack, we also want you to be able to kind of sit in a low block and be able to soak pressure and counter attack as well, so you have the tools to be able to defend as well as attack. And one of the main things we really wanted to improve was how teams can soak up pressure and then attack on the transition and attack on the break.
I think this is also going to lead to people being incredibly angry and just getting FM'd more, because if a low block is better, then you can get shut down, miss a lot of shots. They get one counterattack because counters are now stronger in the game and counterattacking is now stronger. And that's just going to lead to more angry people. It's kind of why they made low blocks bad in the first place. But if they can bring it back the right way, then you're just reintegrating a way to play the game that hasn't existed recently in a super effective way. I know you can still succeed with a low block, it's just much harder than other styles of play. And what's going to add to people getting angry is this.
It's a lot more nuanced, and yeah, especially with that defensive stability, they look to, oh, I can quickly nip in there. Oh, I'll quickly step in and get that interception, and then we can break. So yeah, it will feel a lot more realistic, like those breakups in play and that like sort of chaotic nature of that like midfield zone. That's what we've really tried to replicate this year, is the chaos of football. Not just the pretty tiki-taka, like it is about like making the engine feel believable.
More chaos in the midfield just means you're going to be yelling at your players more, but I think that the FM match engine does need more turnovers, more bad touches, more loose touches, better presses, better stealing, better standing tackling, which they said they're going to improve in the game as well. So I think it's a good change. I just think it's going to end up with me and a lot more people wanting to put their fist through their monitor. Another important feature, the subscribe button. That's an A+ feature right there. But the rest of the changes they announced were just extra. They got the UEFA licensing, which I know is a huge deal for them, but obviously if you use face and logo packs, it's not something that's going to change a ton. What it does add is a better match day feel, better podiums to celebrate when you have your trophy on. They're all officially branded and everything, which that's cool. You can see it here. This is what it looks like. It's neat. But this isn't, to me, like a big headline feature. They've also improved the draws, which I think is cool. I mean, they could do a lot more with the draws, but a person they brought on to talk about it said they make it more of the narrative. This is what that looks like. It's much like a press conference now, so it's not going to change too much. And there was also another nothing headline announcement, which is something that I think a lot of people are going to like. It's called a manager timeline. You know how last year they introduced this thing at the end of a season, which is like your season in review? That thing that nobody thought was going to be a big deal, but everybody everybody loved. I think manager timeline will be the same way, but it's not a big change. It just gives you this little injection of nostalgia that every Football Manager player wants, but it's not actually a big deal. There is one more thing that is a big deal though, that's again, going to add to frustration. It's balancing out the frustration reduction we're getting from scouting. And that's, you don't just have a club vision anymore, but you have what essentially looks like a fan club vision, which is awesome. I mean, look at the screen. You have this breakdown of like what types of fans there are. You have the core, the fair weather, so you see the percentages of those types of fans. You can see how many people are following your social media accounts. And I wish we had this year with my save with Floridsdorfer, because we've grown the fan base of that club so much. I wish that we had the screen to break it down. You have these, they click away from it quickly in the video, but the kind of your club fan goals, not from the board, but from the fan. And then depending on what type of board you have, they will take the fans into account or not at a certain degree, and the fans could get you fired, or they could also keep you in a job. I think this is great. This is pure ingenuity. I didn't think of this. I didn't think of adding it to the game, and this is the best completely original idea that I think Football Manager is adding to the game to make it more realistic. But let's sit and actually rank these. I'll give an A to F grade to everything we've talked about so far. I think the squad planner is a solid C+. It's not great, it's not bad, but I'm going with a C+ instead of a C because I do think it looks good. I don't know if I'm actually going to use it. The recruiting overhaul, though, to reduce the inbox clutter and to make recruiting more intuitive and less formulaic, that's an A- for me. I think that's fantastic thought, and everything that went into that, I think it's exactly what the game needed to make that part of it less opaque. And it's something that just a few weeks ago I was asking for. Everything else in the recruiting section is DC for I don't care. It's probably not going to affect the game in a significant way. A DC for don't care. Now for the match engine stuff, the AI manager improvements, I'm going to go with a B-. That is entirely because I will enjoy the fact that it makes the simulations better. And this will actually be upgraded to a full A if there is a noticeable change in the way that managers manage against you, because that is a core change to the way that the game is played. It won't just be the other manager does one or two things, but they're actually adapting to you. That would be awesome. The chaos defensive block midfield stuff that they're talking about, obviously we have to play the game for me to be able to tell you whether they're able to execute it the way they're talking about it, but I'll go ahead and give it a C right now because we just don't know. For the official licensing stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and give them a C because I know they probably spent a lot of money on it, and yeah, I'll take it. But it's not like, I don't think that's a headline feature. I don't, and I don't think the manager timeline is necessarily of the quality to be a headline feature. Even though I feel like it's going to be enjoyable, I think the absolute meat is the match engine stuff and the recruitment stuff. The fans, nice surprise, that's actually an A for me. Something I didn't know the game needed that it absolutely needed, so I'm gonna give it an A. My overall grade for this video is positive. I'm gonna give this a B. I'm actually pretty excited to play the new game. I'm excited to not spend as much time scouting and more time playing the game. We have to wait and see more of the stuff from the match engine, because honestly it looked like it could have some of those same flaws, but hopefully defensive positioning is better, and hopefully they did something about set pieces, because they didn't say anything and I'm getting scared that they didn't touch it. I'm scared.